The Art Man channel is full of various lighthearted adventures taken from all around the country, but there's one video from his stay in Carpinteria, California that's way different from the rest. Art is wading in the water when he sees the last thing any surfer wants to see, a pointy fin barely poking above the surface.
What? What the f***? That's creepy.
Art watches in stunned silence as a sizable great white shark swims by the nose of his boat, less than 10 feet away. It's not full grown, but it's still large enough to make a meal out of one of his arms or legs if it so desires. Fortunately, the shark moves on without much hesitation, and Art makes a beeline to the shore. If this is a different kind of shark other than a great white, please let me know. That's what it says in the video's description and title, but I honestly can't tell for sure. This strange video has me doing a double take, shared by TikToker uaberm1997 and originally shared by bjoshua0902. The video shows a couple of partiers going down a water slide, but watch the second one closely. It looks like a second pair of legs is sticking out to the side. Watch again. Is someone following closely behind the woman? It doesn't appear so. When she splashes into the water, no one pops up behind her. So what's going on here? The only explanation I can see is that there was another person following closely behind that somehow swam out of view during the splash, but I don't know. It sure doesn't look like that's what's happening. What do you think is going on here? In this video published by Urban Exploration in August of 2016, you can see a man in a black hoodie standing very still outside some near steps. Looking down through the uploader's window, the creep appears frozen there. The video describes what happened. For the past 4 days, I have seen a man standing in front of my building, wearing a black hoodie looking through the windows of my apartment. This video is proof as my friends and family don't believe me. This was recorded on August 22nd, 2016 at around 3 a.m. After a minute or so of footage of this creep standing there, the YouTuber races out of the room, down the stairs, into the area to investigate. Only there's no one there when he arrives. The camera scans around, but the stalker is not in sight. Was he lurking in some nearby bushes? We can only guess. A YouTube channel called Exploring with Fighters travels to the same tunnel system as Dark Arts TV. He is explaining his nervous anticipation when a loud scrape occurs directly over his shoulder. No one is near him. You can tell by everyone's distant chatter that they are pretty far away. Listen for yourself and tell me if you agree no one else was nearby. At least no one alive.
This video is going to be far.
They all get a really bad feeling upon discovering what could be fragments of human. Look at this part and tell me if he is tossing a part of someone's jaw or just a random piece of debris. I was wondering if these could belong to an animal, but then they discover a large collection of combs left over top. Like this one, for example. So I think we may have sadly found our answer. They are ready to leave before they come across any other horrible discoveries, but something follows them. This extremely creepy low laugh follows them on their way out, while the rest of the audio remains the same. In fact, what's especially scary is how one of these girls lets out a small chuckle shortly before this noise comes out.
People like pulling the fire brigade.
Alright, so right now, our homie scared of spiders. We're trying to...
Almost as if it's laughing in response. Listen for yourself and tell me if you think this is edited or not. When a YouTuber named Lil Goofy is exploring some trails with his friend, they decide to take a rest. That's when someone decides it's time to make them run. Somebody who's probably been following them for a while. The sun is settling, but there's still enough light to catch a potential lurker video on their helmet cam. At 1 minute and 8 seconds, they think the strange man waves hello, but he might be waving around something sharp instead. They debate what to do next, and then he makes the decision for them when he runs straight at them. They lose him fast and crouch down in the weeds to let the lunatic run past, and then they go back to their car. What's weird about this video, assuming that it's real, is that he's dressed like a normal person. You wouldn't think twice about passing the stranger on a trail until they are already following you. It's probably one of their friends, but we'll never know for sure, and that's what makes it creepy. Some people think photographs capture the soul. Maybe this soul didn't want to be captured. Published by Dark Life in June of 2021, this poltergeist isn't playing around. While snapping photos in this haunted room, Russian paranormal investigator Dennis hears a rustling that he says sounds like it's coming from the basement. As he continues to take pictures, a massive wardrobe to his right is pushed over onto the ground. He leaves the room, and when he goes to re-enter it, he hears some strange sparking noises while standing in the doorway. The sounds stop. He looks around, asks who is there, but no one answers. Still, he appears to sense something watching him. Is Dennis alone here, or are the spirits all around him? This most haunted hospital in Guadalajara carries an evil energy, and this crew is there to investigate it. When they turn down a dark hallway, they appear to see some movement.
Oye, acabo de ver algo que se
Algo que
asomó.
se cruzó,
¿Lo viste?
¿verdad? Sí.
Ah, ya, al fondo.
Things intensify as they start to hear noises in the hospital.
Hoy. Ok, aquí es donde está poniéndose más tenso.
They walk down the hallway and come across a creepy surgical room.
Mira esto.
Es que es impresionante este sitio.
Mira esto.
They feel a presence in the chapel.
Que son utilizados, bueno, para parte de esto, pero para otras cosas más pesadas. Si escucha esa voz. Muchas veces no lo quiero decir porque espero que la gente lo diga, pero sí lo escuché. Tú lo escuchaste.
Then they hear something unexpected.
Ah, madre, ¿dónde está el perro? Yo me lo imaginé que venía detrás. No, ahí está bien el perrito entonces.
Is that Cujo? They seem to hear something in this room.
Incluso siento la energía en el cabello.
Later, they walk down the hallway into a room where many people say they feel anguish.
Cuando pasábamos por vidrios o espejos.
Mira, otra vez.
Ok.
Otra vez con su
La gente dice se siente angustia en ese cuarto.
The woman also explains why they light candles to spirits instead of offering up their own energy.
Yo siempre ofrezco mi energía, la verdad.
Eso no es tan bueno, Ricky.
Eso no es bueno. ¿Qué me puedes decir eso?
No. Una, pues les estás diciendo que pueden tomar toda tu energía.
Well, I didn't see anything terrifying on this hospital tour. I do feel the energy being sucked out of me just watching this. Do you feel the same? This video isn't as long as the others, so I'm not going to spend much time on it, but that doesn't mean it's any less creepy. Brian Orban is cruising down the street in northeastern Pennsylvania when he turns off on an old dirt road to get to his friend's house. As he pulls up, this large humanoid figure is caught on dash cam. The head, hands, and feet are white, but the body looks brown. It's slightly bent over and does a weird hopping run to get away. Brian thinks this could be a mysterious creature because it wasn't one of his friends. Then again, this video was recorded a couple weeks before Halloween, so I wouldn't be surprised if this was planned. Tell me if this is an unknown creature or a friend in a costume. Peel your eyes back for this one, published by Kisa Weba in January of 2022. This scary video has been trending in the Spanish-speaking YouTube community. The video was shared with Kisa Weba by a subscriber who said he'd found the footage on Reddit. The original poster claimed to have crossed paths with this mud monster on the way home one day. The footage shows a creepy female mud-like creature sitting in the middle of a dirt road. The mysterious creature has long arms with a peculiar appendage where the hand should be. The hand features long Gumby-like fingers that appear to contract as the cameraman walks toward her. The figure's back is also strangely indented. It looks as if parts of the figure are blurred out for discretion, but as the cameraman walks toward her, the other hand reaches over, revealing the same elongated fingers as the first. There also appears to be a trail several feet down the road, dragged by the figure, but it ends as if the creature dropped to the earth there from the middle of nowhere. What is this mud monster? And what exactly is she doing here? I guess we'll never know for sure. Zach from The Adventures of Zach and Bee is sure that a wild animal is in his attic. It's dark up there, so he takes the camera with him for light. The noise coming from his attic is unlike anything I've ever heard before. It sounds like a baleful combination of scratching, growling, and howling. Zach doesn't bother going any deeper, and I really can't blame him. Unfortunately for him, it sounds like something follows him on the way out.
Well, I don't see anything, so let's go ahead. Let's go ahead.
An unseen voice says don't, and I think it also says get out of here too. Obviously, this is a real human voice and not an animal after all, and whoever was making that noise remains a mystery. A YouTuber named Bradley, not Bradley, is scheduled for a medical procedure on his nose, but the doctor needs to run some tests first. So he heads to the hospital for a pre-examination. Overall, he is in a fairly cheerful mood, and you can tell that he is not expecting for this routine visit to become one of the most terrifying days of his life. The nurse sticks a needle in his arm and the syringe turns bright red. Everything seems to go fine at first, but after the extraction is over, he suddenly feels faint.
Wow. The worst that happens is you just go to sleep for a second. It's fine.
I'm scared.
You're fine. I'm right here.
The entire ordeal only lasts a few minutes total, but I'm sure it feels a lot longer to Bradley, who needs to be repeatedly calmed down by his friend as he tries not to pass out. He regains his composure and reluctantly sits up, speaking slowly and still looking dazed. If you happen to have a fear of needles, then I'd be interested in knowing if your reaction is similar or different than what Bradley does here. A store security cam in Malaysia has caught a ghost on tape, a strange figure that can teleport at will, and it's got the owners freaking out. I would be freaking out too. 55 seconds is when you can see there's nobody in these clothes. No chest, no head, no hands. Just clothes forming the outline of a person who isn't there. Then at 1 minute and 30 seconds, it sprouts a freaky gray featureless face. And did you see that even scarier, more mysterious figure behind her? 1 minute and 26 seconds is when a much taller shadow figure with a red face appears behind her and then mysteriously goes away. This could be a possession, a ghost, or a demon sighting, or even a hostile takeover from another planet, but it could also simply be video editing. Oh, and of course, this creepy encounter happened at 3:14 in the morning, just 14 minutes shy of 3 a.m., a time when the supernatural world is said to fully open with our own. With a name like Forest of the Black Cross, this place is bound to experience some shady supernatural happenings. Captured and published to YouTube in July of 2021, the crew are filming at night in the dark and haunted forest, and what they encounter does appear to be supernatural. Something is disturbing the forest, and as they zero in on it, they spot the dreaded figure amongst the thick brush.
Cadê, gente? Ele tá descendo. Ele ali, ali. Olha o aceso! Cara.
The scary footage captures the face of a wild beast with glowing orange eyes, sharp features, and a gray tone. It looks unlike any other forest creature, and unlike any human figure at that. The crew rightly freaks out, and as a deep growl rumbles through the forest, they flee as fast as their legs will carry them. As they race away, howling is heard into the night. Were they really faster than this werewolf, or did the wolf simply find other more alluring prey? A YouTuber named Jonathan Russo is renovating a room in his home when he discovers something out of place. He taps on a bottom portion of the wall and it sounds hollow, so he cuts away a hole.
And I find a hidden room underneath the house.
The space is lined with old bricks and carries an ominous and foreboding atmosphere. Jonathan feels very out of place and doesn't stay for long.
It's pretty creepy.
The room itself appears to have no structural purpose and seems to be walled off for no reason. This, combined with Jonathan's reluctance to go any further, raises some questions. I wonder what happened in there, if anything, that would cause a previous owner to seal it away. The jinn is back. That's right, the shape-shifting creature of Arabic mythology that is said to have the capacity to possess humans is yet again making an appearance in this clip. Hassan Barbar believes he's caught one on camera. Posted in January of 2020 on YouTube, he writes in Arabic, "I've never seen a jinn before." Outside of a stone building, the man captures something on film peering out at him from behind a palm tree. It pokes its head out briefly before drawing back into hiding. As he approaches the palm tree, you can hear movement coming from within it. He continues to wander around the premises until he starts to hear something swinging. Turning the camera towards the sound, he finds an old swing set. One swing flings back and forth, though no one is there to push it, nor does the night appear at all windy, as the trees remain unmoving. A short while later, when he is in front of the entryway to the building, a window pane slides closed. Again, it appears as though no one is there to close it. Do you believe in jinn? This video has me creeped out to the max. Whoever shot this footage claims to have been filming back in 2008. They were exploring an abandoned house and decided to start filming after hearing a strange noise. It's a very short clip since it wasn't long before they were running out of the house screaming. Reviewing the footage again, you can clearly see that this is not an ordinary forest creature. Its front legs bend inwards as it runs, kind of like a human running on all fours. It doesn't appear to have much of a face, yet it can somehow make a terrifying scream. The humanoid appears to be ready for the cameraman as soon as he opens the door. It approaches aggressively, but also with a hint of caution, for it rushes at the cameraman at only half speed. It also doesn't seem to pursue him when he starts running, which means it's probably just claiming its territory and wants to be left alone. The YouTuber who uploaded this video says that this is not their only encounter with the creature. Another time they were exploring the abandoned house with a friend and a knife. They peer into the house from the front yard and listen for any signs of the creature inside. They don't hear anything, so they decide to go further in to investigate. That's when they hear its disturbing warning cries. It sounds like a mix between a squealing pig and some sort of enraged dinosaur. The two quickly turn off their flashlights and remain quiet in the dark. Then they slowly get up and start sneaking away, but just when they think they are safe.
The heck is that? Oh, shoot, no! Shoot! Just get out of the house, get out of the house. Just get back to the house. Just get back to the house. Jesus Christ.
They run back full speed to their nearby home. When they review the footage, they vow to go back to the property the next day with guns, but they never got the courage to follow through. Since the monster never chased them in either video, perhaps it was just as uncertain of them as they were of it. A forest and nighttime is a terrible combination. That's what these men find when they set out into the area jungle in the darkness. Facebook user Kaiser Sharam shared this video of a peaceful walk through the moonlit forest. Just kidding, this is anything but peaceful. A couple minutes into the footage, a man points out something lurking amongst the trees, similar to another entry in this list. It appears like a woman with long black hair dressed in white. They keep their distance, only pointing out the figure to the camera. Later, they follow her into an abandoned building. Her long hair disappears around a corner. When they turn the corner, she's vanished. They search through the dark building, but don't cross paths with her again. That is, until they enter the dark and expansive forest. They spot a strange figure. It's not the woman, but appears to be something wrapped in a white sheet. When the man approaches to peer inside, the thing moves. What is it? Could it be some sort of ceremonial figure left to these men by the dark-haired witch? Whatever it is, it bows to the man again as he probes it and then walks away. What do you think this might be? What's inside? I don't think I would unwrap this gift. While walking down an empty street at night, this man encountered not one but 3 witches. Posted to the very spooky video subreddit by Enrique Glue, he hears them before he sees them. The witches are making these horror movie noises that are creepy in and of themselves. As he walks, he spies this figure off to his right. He then makes a run for it, but their scary wails follow him. Next, he spies this figure to the left. He continues running as the screaming gets crazier. And lastly, another figure in white coming from this alleyway to the right. Many in the comments think the noise sounds like cats or an upset husky. Others say this is obviously the call for the witch meeting. What do you think is happening here? I can't imagine it's anything good. When YouTube personalities are filming, they often capture the unexpected in their footage, and sometimes they capture the paranormal. Marissa Rochelle published this video in August of 2016. Marissa explains that when she was filming a back-to-school video, when she left her camera rolling and left the room, she turned off some of the lights but left one light on, and was gone for around 2 to 3 minutes. When she returned, the only thing slightly out of the ordinary was that Marissa noticed her camera had tilted downward. Still, this wasn't that unusual, because the heavy camera often tilts on its tripod. She continued filming. It wasn't until Marissa watched back the footage that she saw this nightmarish hand. Her sister Shauna was editing the film when she called Marissa over to take a look at this creepiness she spotted on camera. When she gets up to go retrieve the prize, you can hear the door close as she leaves the room.
And I did keep one light on just so that I would be able to find my way back in the dark.
After 2 minutes of radio silence, you can see the camera slowly falling downward. As the shot falls below her bed, something to the left beneath her bed moves quickly out of the shot. Marissa says it looks like a child's hand. Shauna and Marissa searched beneath the bed to see if there was anything there that might move like this, but they came up short. A child ghost, a doll come to life. What's beneath Marissa's bed? Whatever it may be, my guess is that it's very nefarious. Another poltergeist is haunting an abandoned church, and this one isn't so playful. Published to YouTube in July of 2021, this abandoned church has some supernatural visitors. Inside the church, amongst the whistling in the wilderness, something thuds nearby. The boys hold still, trying to listen for more unexplained noises. Moments later, they are standing there, casting light on the wall, when a distant, low-pitched moan is heard in the background. Well, in what looks like a basement space with lots of old items stored, a blast of sound is heard in the next room.
Güey, ¿qué pedo?
Ven,
Güey,
ven. Se oyó acá, se oyó
¿qué
allá.
pedo?
Se oyó allá, güey.
Something heavy and out of sight was thrown on the ground. As the boys attempt to speak to the spirit, another strange moan sounds faintly. And then a couple of shelf doors are slammed shut with great force. In another area of the haunted church, several small successive thuds are followed by a strange double beep. They quickly get away from that space. Later, when peeking around a corner, a cabinet door slowly closes. Whatever is closed isn't caught on camera. Not long after, a big heavy door slowly opens before being jarringly half shut. They approach the door. There is nothing on the other side. As the scary video wraps up, one of the crew is taking in a dark room when they hear a faint noise in the darkness.
Como lo hicimos en aquella ocasión que entramos a este.
They look over, shining a light there but find nothing. What is following them through this church? Perhaps a demon that couldn't be redeemed. Following was submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Urban Ghost Hunters 901 while filming B-roll in an abandoned church for a future overnight investigation. He caught something frightening on camera. One camera was in a fixed place, capturing a steady shot of a book set on a railing, surrounded by lit candles, while the cameraman was behind the other camera, filming the rest of the room. You can hear the book hit the ground loudly in both shots, while the Steadicam captures its fall. Nothing visible pushed the book or caused it to fall to the floor. In the comments, Urban explains in more detail what happened. I was going to do a pan-up shot from the back of the church, and as I started to pan up, my camera blurred, as if it were trying to focus. Not saying it's paranormal because it was in low light, but as it blurred, and I was looking through the LCD display, I saw something fly right in front of me. Seems like something paranormal had arrived. When you play with the paranormal, you're bound to get burned. Think it's probably time to get out of there. A YouTuber named Jonathan senses something outside of his home and begins recording. He doesn't make it very far before he finds the source of his unease staring directly back at him.
Okay guys, so
a small set of beady eyes in the darkness sends Jonathan running back into his home. I was positive it was just a cat until I noticed there are other eyes in the video too, like when he turns around here. Maybe Jonathan does have an overactive imagination and was frightened by a neighborhood cat. Or maybe he really is being watched in his own yard by an unseen network of nightmarish creatures. Take a look at this picture of Patty and Joe Martinez. Do you see anything wrong? Maybe if I circle it for you, it will help. This hideous creature over his shoulder looks like a dog at first, but its nose is too flat and pushed in, and a top row of human teeth form a snickering sneer. The yellow eyes are open as wide as possible, and there's a tiny pupil at the very bottom, meaning it is looking down at you. Photo experts have verified this picture is real, which is absolutely terrifying. After all, there's no reason for anything that scary to be anywhere near a wedding anniversary, especially behind you. Would you invite yourself into a demon's home? Published by Toppy in December of 2021, that's what this ghost hunter did, and he would live to regret it. He quickly realizes he is not alone. After hearing faint footsteps on the floor above, he sets up his camera in the darkness. That's when this happens. Later, he is trying to communicate with the poltergeist, and he receives an answer.
Это ты всех мучил здесь.
Will he heed the spirit's warning? No, he will not, and the demon doesn't like it.
Твою мать.
Would you stay a minute longer inside this haunted place? A minute seems too long to me. A father and his 2 children explore this abandoned house as a strange way to bond together, but I think it might have ended up ripping them apart. They cross into the dark kitchen and immediately hear a wild growl, followed by low whispers and a pair of glowing eyes. They are hurrying out of the house as fast as they can, but debris is everywhere, and they have to move slow. Just when they are about to leave, they find the way blocked by their absolute worst fears. The thin ghoul is barely reminiscent of a human. Its features wide and dark and taking up large portions of its face. Its eyes and nose are missing. Its mouth nothing more than a wide cavern, extending from cheek to cheek. A fearless ghost hunter named Hassan Barbar takes on a demon in its own home in one of the creepiest paranormal explorations I've seen in a while. First is Snapchat filter, which uses facial recognition technology, detects a ghost right in front of him, though I suspect it might be falsely detecting a face from this square on the wall. But what the filter could possibly mistake for a face here at 3 minutes and 37 seconds, I have no idea. Maybe it is a ghost. A bizarre trail of flashing dog images does seem to lead him to the real thing, and the extra creepy stuff is all caught on camera.
ما بعرف شو الخيال الظاهر هون. الوضع جدا مخيف. هاي والله فيش.
The demon is in a small cramped room with no exit, and so Hassan Barbar fearlessly charges forward, fearing no demon. He is expected to have caught it up close on camera, but instead the small room is mysteriously empty, despite there being no other path for it to have escaped through besides the doorway through which he came.
عطول وينه؟
He follows the Snapchat filter back to the mysterious square wall, and that's when he sees it again.
طب خليك طب بدي احكي معك انا بدي احكي معك.
He runs outside only to find the demon has disappeared from the other side of the wall. The Snapchat taunts him with further positives for a facial recognition.
لازم نحكي معاه. وين بروح وين بيختفي؟ مش عارف. هاي في إشي حتى هون.
He goes to where the figure was just standing and looks through the wall inside. Sure enough,
طلع في إشي جنبه زي نار.
By now, he understands that this jinn can teleport easily and will not be caught today because it simply does not want to be. He leaves for now, sure to be back another day with a plan to draw it even closer next time for a better look at its gruesome face. Trevor, aka Hitch, has a live stream channel where he travels all across the country meeting new people. The only problem is the people he meets aren't always alive. He's staying overnight at a hotel that's supposedly haunted when scary things happen to him. The kind of stuff the hotel's owner would probably never want you to see because it would be bad for business.
I've never seen anything that can be explained. I've never heard anything that could have no explanation.
He is in the middle of talking about how he's never experienced a scary moment that couldn't be explained.
And I'm doing stuff where people, I think people would be like, you would be very...
When suddenly some weird things caught on livestream leave him laughing uncontrollably with fear. I think he's laughing to cover up an intense sense of panic. A vein is about to bust out his forehead with adrenaline, suggesting his fight or flight instincts were triggered and he was gearing up for conflict. This was not someone in his hotel room because, unless I'm mistaken, he wasn't sharing a room with anyone in this video. He was staying all by himself when the lights turned on. I guess he could have asked a random person to help him make a ghost video, but his response seems genuine, so I don't think this moment is made up. I will say as a counterpoint that many other scary livestream moments like this have turned out to be fake though, so I'm not claiming this was 100% real. I'm just saying that this was really weird and he seems freaked out. Tell me if you think he was really staying in a haunted hotel that night. I think he was. After all, when you traveled to different places all over the country, it's only a matter of time before one of them ends up being haunted. Jal Bundy has caught some weird things on camera while exploring the forest outside of his village late at night. In front of them is the white outline of a phantom apparition that for some reason stands out against a backdrop of total darkness. When they rush towards the apparition, you can see it shrinks into a small ball of paranormal energy and disappears around the tree. Is this strange ball of light edited, or really paranormal is what I want to know. I feel like this video could be real because it's late at night, they sound scared, and those woods look scary too. Freaky, right? This video comes from a YouTube channel in Poland called The Slamming Door, which was named after a loud poltergeist who frequents a small home in Europe. The owner of the home eventually sets up cameras in all of the main rooms to capture the highly aggressive spirit in action. Everything looks normal in this bedroom until about 50 seconds into the video, when the poltergeist demands to be acknowledged. It targets a video game collection and sends cases to the floor. This could have been done with a string, but watch again and it does look like an invisible entity swipes everything off the shelf in one smooth motion with their arm. Also, this is a fairly big gaming collection, so if this was fake, you'd think they would knock over something less expensive that they didn't collect or otherwise care about the condition of. This final video is what finally drove them out of the house once and for all. They enter only to find the house has been trashed, and it seems like a spirit is following them around as they explore room to room. They return to the same bedroom in the previous video, and something is in there with them that makes them jump. On the way out, the kitchen light swings wildly, and a chair briefly pulls out on its own. I wish they would have recorded the entire room so we could verify that no one was in there with them, but they were obviously in too much of a hurry to fully document the occurrence. Stephanie Jenkins is filming her child at the bottom of some steps when suddenly she goes from smiling to startled.
Whoa.
The child definitely looks like she saw something. but she takes a few steps into the next room and then quickly forgets about it. Some people have noticed what appears to be an orb float overhead, while some people think that this is a speck of dust or something similar. Others think it could be a long-lost relative paying their respects to the next generation of kin. Put on your bowling shoes. Published by Joe MC in June of 2021, a mysterious bright light is roaming the lanes of this bowling alley. The light is seen hovering distantly into a lane to the far left for a minute, before shooting to the right. The twinkling light pauses for a moment in one lane before shooting left again. It hovers there and flies about a minute more before the clip ends. What is this strange light? Is it the soul of a bowling enthusiast? If it is, I hope he gets a strike. A YouTuber named SE Styles is camping in the woods of Hinton, Canada, when he hears the last thing that anyone wants to hear just outside of their tent. A lone wolf's howl pierces through their conversation and renders both SE Styles and his friend silent as night sets in. They soon realize they are vastly outnumbered. If anyone watching this happens to be an animal wildlife expert, I'd like to know if these wolves were howling because they were aware of the human presence nearby, or if this was for some other reason. Perhaps this was a warning to SE Styles not to come any closer, although I'm sure he and his friend did not need any extra convincing. Daffy of Busan TV is a YouTuber from Ambon, Indonesia, who makes ghost hunting videos in Depok City. One of the scariest, most haunted places he's ever gone exploring was a large abandoned hospital that shut down after too many things went wrong.
Belum lama rumah sakit ini terbengkalai, astagfirullah. Anjir, serem amat ya.
One of the hospital's final mistakes before getting shut down was letting a nun named Sister Nancy pass away on the ICU floor. Now her angry spirit is watching over this haunted place and not in a loving way.
Assalamualaikum. Wow. Antara gua halu atau tidak, tapi tadi gua ngeliat seperti ada orang lewat di sini.
As Daffy goes exploring, only the smallest of clues, flashes of light where his camera is not pointing, for example, belie the presence of anything paranormal. A walled-off entrance reveals an even older wing that feels entirely wrong. This place is haunted more than any other part of the hospital. He's sure of it. Soon he finds the ICU room on the second floor, the place where the ghost nun is said to haunt. He knows there's no turning back now.
Tadi gue mendengar sesuatu dari arah sini. Oke, kita langsung aja ke ruang ICU. Suster Neng sih.
He leaves the ICU ward feeling extremely uncomfortable, but without conclusive paranormal evidence, and as he takes a final look around...
Keren, sumpah ini keren. Assalamualaikum.
He hears something moving on wheels one room over. A row of cots remains undisturbed except for one that's been pulled out. I don't know if it was Sister Nancy, but I wouldn't stick around to find out. This video is over half an hour long, and I get every impression that he's truly exploring this abandoned hospital all by himself. A hospital that's every bit as haunted as the rumors say. Gabby and Amy are TikToking at their university, but the extra eerie all-white figure behind them steals the spotlight. I don't know if this is a guy creeping on them or what, but it doesn't move at all the whole time and looks really tall, coming up about halfway to the door behind. This could also be a statue, but it looks out of place and barely there, like it could vanish at any moment. Two friends are creeping around a forest in Granada, Spain when they stumble upon something they were never meant to see. The humanoid is likely hunched over its prey as the two approach. They accidentally make a noise and the humanoid's keen ears detect them instantly. It looks up from his meal, ready to attack. You can see that this creature is thin and bony. It looks skinny and sunken in, fast, with a high metabolism. Its reaction time seems way too quick for any ordinary person. Some urban explorations go from 0 to 100 pretty quickly, and this is one of them. Published to YouTube by Chris Hopkins in June of 2020, while exploring an abandoned naval base on a cold, windy night. As soon as Chris and his crew walked into this building, they heard a loud bang right beside them.
Over there.
Still, they decided to explore the rest of the base, no harm done, until they were getting ready to leave. After walking through the woods, as they were squeezing through a hole in the fence to get to their car, they heard what Chris describes as a Bigfoot, or a ghost, chasing after them. He says it again sounded like it was right next to them. The demonic roar is heard at least 2 more times after they get through the fence. Chris says they were running so fast that his friend lost his phone in the escape. Of course, other than the creature with big feet, there are other theories. Some think the roar came from a wild pig or a goat man, and some agree that it does indeed sound demonic. Any other ideas? Those ones already have me terrified. A bolt lock can't keep the paranormal out. Published by Dark Ghost Paranormal in April of 2021. This is a true house of horrors. As Russian paranormal investigator Dennis looks around the unsettling home, something appears to let itself in. Dennis backs off and shuts the door behind him, but that doesn't stop the unwelcome guest. After verifying that there's no one there, Dennis returns to his investigation. Close by, he hears a loud knock. Later, the wardrobe drawers open on their own. And what looks like newspaper is shoved up from one of them. Then the wardrobe doors open one at a time. The second one repeatedly swings open and shut. Dennis walks toward it and there's nothing inside, yet it continues to open and close. This occurs for several minutes. Later, he hears a noise. A bunch of racket draws him to this cupboard. It sounds like all the dishes inside are jumping around. Opening the cupboard doors, he finds nothing out of place. He then hears another noise and finds a bag moving as it hangs on the wall, like there's an animal trapped inside of it. He takes the bag from its hook and opens it, but again, there's nothing inside. When he puts it back down on the bed, it continues to move. What is inhabiting this haunted home? Whatever it is, it let itself in. A YouTuber named Miguel Alvarez is racing down the road at high speeds for a very good reason. He catches up to a red car and immediately gets the driver's attention.
Hey! It's on fire!
It's on fire!
The flames quickly crawl up the vehicle and soon reach the engine. What you see here is the end result just before firefighters arrived and contained the blaze. It looks bad, but things could have been way worse. The woman could have still been inside of this vehicle, if not for the heroic actions of Miguel Alvarez and his friend. Imagine you were walking past an abandoned factory when you saw this. Edge Ninja published this terrifying video in March of 2017. Although it was recorded all the way back in 2013, Edge Ninja explains, The factory, as it was dubbed, had been an eerie fixture in our neighborhood since before my family even moved in. In 30 years, I never saw a single person or vehicle go in or out. The YouTuber walks around the building to confirm that the lights are flashing in multiple wings. Even creepier as Edge Ninja zooms in on a light in a stairwell near the end of the video. YouTuber Oreo the Wolf Fox points out a ghoulish image in the left window, what appears to be a face. Cue the shivers. This building is no longer abandoned. It was renovated and is now used as a factory for a watch company. One wonders if the new factory workers have crossed paths with this creepy figure in the window. This footage is believed to have been shot somewhere in France. It starts out with a UFO sitting on the hillside that quickly flies away. The next shot shows it hovering in the air, and then we are shown this footage of what appears to be a group of aliens conversing on the ground. It looks like they are talking about whatever it is aliens talk about as they casually observe their surroundings. Maybe they were talking about technical difficulties with their ship, or else they were simply stretching their legs between planets. It doesn't look like they are aware that they are being recorded. The UFO again takes off and disappears in a beam of light. If you had a chance to visit a haunted hospital, would you? YouTubers Ogden Paranormal became this haunted hospital's reluctant patients when they stepped into Asylum 49. Published to YouTube in September of 2019, Ogden Paranormal wrote, "The old 2L Hospital is one of the most haunted places in Utah, if not the most haunted. This location was made famous by the Ghost Adventures crew, who have now visited twice due to the incredible evidence they captured the first go-around. Ogden has investigated this place several times, and this time they returned to investigate who or what scared them out of the place years prior." A little background on the old 2L Hospital. As one of Utah's major paranormal sites, the underfunded hospital was without a morgue, leaving the passed away stacked and waiting for their paperwork. Patients have stuck around the place, showing themselves even to those retired folk who resided in and what remained of the building. It's said that sightings of ghost children often precede someone's passing. Others believe the child ghosts are actually demons, and they aren't the only spirits that appear there. A nurse in white roams the hallways, a man dressed in black appears at 3 a.m., and a little girl has been known to appear and then vanish. So who did Ogden Paranormal encounter during their investigation? Let's see firsthand. Granted, this asylum has been turned into a haunted house, so much of the creepiness you see in the video is set up to appear that way, but other things can't really be explained. About 4 minutes in, they head into the nursery, where a creepy old lady statue is posed. They are alone back here, or so they think. Look at the window to the left. Something passes beyond, creating a shadow figure in the frame. It moves out of frame once they come nearer the old lady. Later on, two of the crew see a figure down one hallway. As they're slowly making their way down the hallway, a giggle is heard in one of the rooms. The room is empty apart from some freaky mannequins.
Where you at, Wes?
Later, while all gathered in a conference room, they hear footsteps.
What's that?
Have you not moved?
No.
You guys heard those footsteps over here, right? I thought that was you, man.
During their ghost box session, spirits are responding with frequency. One tells them good luck repeatedly, and one of the spirits brings up Skittles, which had been part of the conversation on a previous visit to the asylum. Little anomalies and disembodied breathing are also heard throughout the investigation. Makes you wonder, are there spirits here? Or are these mannequins about to come? Jeff Wesley is a paramedic whose YouTube channel gives us a glimpse into the frantic lives of emergency medical service technicians everywhere. Today, he must drive an ambulance full speed into the heavy rains, making his job more difficult than usual. The roads are slick and the driver visibility is very low. Every intersection is a serious gamble. Sometimes the roadways grow narrow and give cars a little difficulty pulling over. At one point, some local wildlife even veers into the ambulance's path at the last minute.
Oh, come on, on, Doc. Jesus. I missed it. I didn't hit it.
Despite all of this, Jeff Wesley gets to the scene quickly and is able to provide help. I just want to give a shout out to Jeff Wesley and all of the other EMS workers like him for their courage and service, as this video clearly demonstrates. A YouTuber named Q-Bang Guy receives a deep web mystery box with a pile of old electronics inside. He notices an outdated cassette player with headphones, so he puts them on and hears a woman saying the same thing over and over again in a different language. Listen to this part and let me know if you can translate. Something about the woman's tone sounds menacing to me, almost as if she is making a twisted prediction. If you speak the language, please let me know if I am right. This driver and his friend both spot something strange while driving in Davidson, Maryland. They claim that this is a large black mass. I don't see anything during this first part, but let me know if you do.
Dude, get out of here. Back up, back.
I definitely see something here though, and I'll even highlight it for you.
There it is again. I see it. Get out of here. Go.
What's crazy is how the object mysteriously disappears in less than a second. Based on how fast they speed away, I have little doubt that this video is absolutely real, and they felt like their lives were at risk. After a series of unexpected passings in his family, YouTuber Slightly Scared 2012 experienced this. Do you see a face in the fabric? The YouTuber believes it's his departed cousin's face. The cousin in question passed away, falling from a highway overpass, and within hours, this face appeared on the seat of the chair while the YouTuber was sitting in it. I wish we had a picture of his cousin to compare, but nevertheless, I definitely see a face here, but whether it's pareidolia or not is the big question. If you saw someone in a window just standing and staring, what would you think? Would you consider it abnormal? Would you be concerned about their mental state? These Lithuanians saw this strange staring man as cause for concern when they posted this video to their YouTube channel. Reposted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Martillo, the Redditor writes, "Couple of Lithuanian YouTubers are driving with other couple friends around the city and they come across this strange guy in his apartment. They're saying that he maybe is possessed. The windows in the building across from the Lithuanian's car are all darkened, apart from one brightly lit window on the second floor. There stands a man appearing to stare out into the night, oddly still. Upon closer inspection, the man looks like he's rolling his head around, before turning to the side and staring off again. He stares forward for a time, this having gone on for a solid minute, before turning around and switching off the light in his apartment, likely because he notices the men outside are shining their light up at his window, watching him." Martillo notes that although the men in the video are laughing, the image of someone staring out their window blankly is somewhat scary. He says the behavior is strange. Well, that may be so. You could argue the same for the behavior of the occupants of this car. Maddie and Elijah are ghost hunting with a guide named Eric in an old asylum that has over 80 rooms of horror to investigate. Let's talk about this door. They think somebody scratched at it for hours, and I think that's what it looks like, but I seriously hope it's termites. To support their theory, these scratches at 10 minutes and 55 5 seconds do look like someone took their nails to the wall as well in a fit of madness. Later, they hear this distant moan. I definitely think this sounds like a person, but let me know if you can think of some other explanation.
So that's it.
What the f? Did you hear that?
No.
So that's creepy, but what I want to talk about more than anything is what happens after Elijah makes the mistake of holding a haunted bridal doll. This crazy noise is the spirit's response to being asked what her name is. It sounds wicked and definitely like nothing I'd want to be in the same room as. Even Eric admits he has never heard such a harsh EVP come from that doll before in all his experience as a tour guide, and he also says nobody has ever touched her before, so I think it's real. And as further proof, look what happens when the doll is asked if she's upset about being touched.
Are you mad that Elijah came in and touched the bride?
Judging by this paranormal ripple effect of negative energy caught on camera, I'd say yes, she was. A supposed mermaid was captured sunning itself on the rocks beside this murky lake. Posted to TikTok. You may want to avoid the water after seeing this clip. Did you notice that there are 2 of them? You can see the other one's head peek up. Well, some in the comments say this is a real mermaid, and mermaids in fact look scary like this. I'm not so sure about this video's authenticity. I did some digging online, and it turns out the video's original source is YouTube channel, JJPD Producciones, which specializes in CGI. Whether you choose to believe this is real or fake, it is definitely an impressive reimagination. This ghost has had a few too many. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by Best of Us, here is yet another haunted bar whose resident ghosts' sauced up antics were caught on camera. Watch the bottles to the left of the bar. One bottle on the second shelf starts to nudge toward the edge. While a wet surface sometimes has that effect on items placed on that surface, it usually doesn't lead to this. After inching slowly toward the ledge, the bottle takes a sudden jarring leap, knocking a second bottle below it off the display. This doesn't seem like a natural progression. Rather, it seems like the bottle was yanked from the ledge by some unseen entity. Many in the comments relate their own stories of haunted bars, with Redditor Your Dumb Idiot chiming in. I used to work at a bar that was haunted. Always the same bottle thrown off the shelf in the morning despite me moving it to prove it wasn't a ghost. While many, including myself, wonder what these bar ghosts could possibly want from us by throwing bottles around. Redditor Tech Impaired has one theory. He writes, they just wanted some booze. I see what they did there. Lizzie Arts is freaked out in her own home because a ghost is haunting her.
Just woke up to smoke alarm.
Weird things are caught on camera all of the time. Really creepy stuff like when the ghost kept setting off the smoke alarm all night.
I'm home alone. I know which one it is. It's my one. It's right over there.
The ghost seems to turn the smoke alarm on upon her mention.
We have 2 more smoke alarms in the house. There it goes again.
And instantly stops when she yells at it.
You need to stop that! I know, that scares me.
There are 2 other smoke alarms that the ghost is not bothering with. Just this one by her room. I think she should try changing the batteries and see if it still happens. If that doesn't solve it, then that means this video is really paranormal with more creepy videos to follow, I'm sure. A news reporter hears a train approach and gets an idea for a shot.
Here, let's do it with the train.
The idea is to have her walk into the shot and let the train pass by for dramatic effect. The only problem is she can't look over her shoulder because it'll ruin the shot. She has to guess how close the train is, and her estimations are a little off.
20 minutes after midnight. Oh!
She manages to take 2 steps and is barely off the tracks when the train flies by. This could have ended a lot differently, and there would have been absolutely nothing for the cameraman to do to stop it. This ghost sighting will send chills down your spine. Published to YouTube by TechWorld TV in August of 2014, this video shows a haunted Hindu cremation site. A man arrives at this site in India to investigate a local story. According to the man, he was walking down this dirt road when he saw an entity at this place. The investigator explains that passed away individuals are taken there for their last rites. Nobody lives here, apart from packs of stray dogs. As the man navigates around the puddles on the wet road to approach the ceremonial sites, dogs start barking like crazy at a distance.
In this place.
Then the man shouts that he just saw an entity floating from the building further back. Upon closer inspection of the video, you can see the white vapor the man is talking about. It appears in the darkness under the veranda before floating up and then vanishing. While some point out the vapor moves simultaneously with the camera. One Redditor, Ricky Jaikaran, notes, "I would have said it was a smudge on the camera if the dogs hadn't started to bark at the same time. What do you think? Coincidence or a spirit ascending?" When a drone drifted over the residential area in Overland Park, 2 boys on bikes spotted it overhead, and that's when they jumped off their bikes to have a go at it. You can see one of the kids pick up something, which is presumably a rock, in order to ready aim and fire at the drone, but it's much too high to actually knock it down. The kids follow it for a while, but don't come close enough to truly threaten it, although they do make a valiant effort to do so, chucking a rock or 2 its way. Eventually they give up, but the drone doesn't. It continues to follow them for a good 8 minutes, with the boys getting fed up enough every now and then to stop and throw more rocks. Certainly a scary encounter for both parties involved. A man has been plagued by a demonic invasion that refuses to give him peace. On February 9th of 2017, he records not 1, but 2 shadow figures ominously standing nearby. All you can do is hear his nasal breathing as he watches, stunned and trying not to scream, all while this heavy drape breathes in and out all by itself. Watch how it moves. That's not the wind. Besides, it was staying still for the past 4 minutes and 40 seconds prior. And you don't even want to see what's moving on his other window. I'll show you its true form in just a little bit, but for now let's focus on a couple different incidences first. On July 22nd of that same year, he is turning over a crystal again and again, possibly in hopes that some of its protective energy will rub off on him. Slowly but surely, this bright spot begins to manifest itself before his very eyes, starting at 1 minute and 33 seconds. Hope turns to horror as the omen spins around to reveal a grinning reptile-like face that he's sure is the Lord of the Underworld himself, its stony face shrouded in half darkness. This ties into a separate incident 12 days earlier on July 10th. That's when he claims to have recorded what he calls a ghoul lurking in the bush outside of his window. When you pause at 3 seconds, it does look like the top half of a skeletal face that soon disappears into the bushes, black eyes and all. That definitely wasn't a normal animal, so what was it? It looks remarkably similar to the face seen in the crystal nearly 2 weeks later. Sometimes it would show up in the most unlikely of places, like the folds of a piece of fabric as shown here on February 15th, 2017. Do you see the creepy goblin face with a long nose, big ears and open mouth? I can even see an eye, and that's the more friendly of the 2 faces. This second one looks like 2 worried eyes and a mouth locked in a permanent scream. There's not as much detail and some of the features are disproportionate and misshapen, but it's still there nonetheless. So now that you've seen the demon's face a few times, I suppose you are ready to see the rest of it and the rest of the original video. This is what he saw crawling into his home that fateful early February day. This upside down creature is in fact one of the many beings who he claims to see on the regular. It's hard to make out exactly what this is, but it's harder still to disprove it, and it gives me a bad feeling all around. I tend to believe this video, and all of these sightings for that matter. He claims the quality of the video has somehow sharply deteriorated over time since uploading, and that the being at one point looked more detailed and even had horns. I don't see how this is possible for a digital copy to become less clear, but the colors do look muted here and apparently were brighter. So I want to know if you think that this man is legitimately seeing demons around his house, or if this is all happening in his mind. As much as I want to believe this is a delusion like some people think it is, I don't necessarily agree. The problem is I do see a lot of what he claims on video, so there's a good chance it could be true. YouTuber David DeFranco dramatically descends the stairs into his dingy cement brick basement, saying after 4 years of wondering what's in that room, it's time. With a cat as his bodyguard, David notes that it's 10:49 p.m. Not sure why you'd choose to explore a hidden room at night, but David's got grit. He notes that he's always wondered what's in this hidden room, and that his cat has explored it several times and seen some serious stuff, so David is curious and nervous. It's probably nothing, but you can't help but wonder, he says, using his night vision camera. He moves the piece of plywood, blocking the hole in the wall, out of the way, and he enters. He calls the place creepy before asking hello to no one in particular. It looks like another crawl space, but there are some intriguing bits and pieces inside. An old bottle, newspaper, dripping pipe, small plastic containers, comics from the Philadelphia Inquirer date back to April 1st, 2001. So someone has been down in the crawl space not too long ago. David recalls hearing noises coming from the crawl space. While David didn't discover anything epic beneath his home, he did at least explore it before moving out. The San Antonio Cemetery in Texas could be one of the scariest places in the world to go exploring if this video is real. A ghost hunter from the Paranormal Journal stands in total darkness when some creepy things are caught on camera, and despite the lack of light, what he experiences is downright terrifying. His paranormal equipment detects movement, and then a single word crackles across the spirit box in an odd staticky voice. He never shows us exactly where he positioned the motion detection equipment, so it could be detecting his movement or a gust of wind for all we know. But here's something weird. If you look closely, there is a strange phantom light at 29 seconds, the same moment that the motion detection alarm goes off, that soon fades away. I would say there's another investigator, but I think that he might have been exploring the haunted cemetery all alone that night. If so, I have no idea what this light is, and even if it was a member of his team, that still doesn't explain the odd voice moments later that says hello. What if we are living in a simulation? Cross-posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit, the cross-poster suggests that this is visual proof that the universe is updating now. The video footage shows a spinning wheel of light in the sky, the type you see on your computer screen when the system is buffering. The wheel is seen at a distance and then close up. The short clip offers no explanation, leaving Redditors to reach the most extreme conclusions. Maybe they're just looking to get some of that McDonald's. Everyone knows seedy stuff happens under bridges, and YouTuber Last Leaf Studio found evidence of this in July of 2016, posting a video entitled, "Some Creature Creeps Under the Pedestrian Bridge in Kiev." The footage shows traffic passing by on a highway in Ukraine's capital, as the cameraman is posted alongside a pedestrian walkway. Scanning the scene, the camera lands on the pedestrian bridge overhead. Look closely here. Beneath the bridge, you can see a large creature, apparently somehow holding onto the underside of this bridge, creeping across it bit by bit. You can even see its limbs move as it makes its way across. At first in darkness, the figure makes its way towards the light. A close-up of the creature reveals that this figure is distinctive. Its outline and limbs seem to be that of a human, or at least that of a humanoid creature. But what human can traverse the underbelly of a bridge like that, and why would they? The other option is that it's something with an immense amount of strength. What do you think it is? According to YouTuber 01 Supernatural Studio, a gambler lived in this place. He lost all the land in a bet and then chose to take his own life. Let's see if his presence remains. The ghost hunter quickly gets a reading.
黄色，不稳定。黄色，我跳到红色。好 ，OK， 那这个地方怎么废弃的？我现在就来告诉大家。
Inside, his meter spikes.
来镜子前面测测看磁场吧。哦，镜子这边红的耶。而且某方面来讲，这样的镜子会不会形成一个通道？
The spike occurs right next to a mirror. Could this be a portal into another world? As he continues to search, he hears a voice.
客家八音耶。小孩子的声音。
Here it is again with the infrared on. He asks the spirit to touch a paranormal device.
我请教一下，就是那他的父母亲的灵体还在这个地方吗？如果还在的话，摸一下好吗？谢谢。
It seems to me that the spirit is here, but what the spirit's intentions are remains a mystery. When you can command a door to open and close, you may just have The Gift, published by the Scottish Ghost Company. In February of 2022, this investigation of an industrial complex turned super creepy when the investigators' commands were granted. The pair is alone in the warehouse aside from the ghosts. You can hear them communicating via the spirit box in the adjacent hangar throughout the video. The pair approaches a door and asks the spirit to open it if he or she is still with them.
Can you open the door, please, if you're still with us?
In answer, the door slowly swings open. A moment later, when asked to close the door, the spirit acquiesces, slamming the door shut.
Really impressed. Thank you. Thank you.
Many in the comments call this activity mind-blowing and wonder if it's real. Is this a portal to another world? Step on through if you dare.
Can you open the door, please, if you're still with us?
Oh my god.
A YouTuber named Jake Carlini and his friends all want to experience creepy Randonautica moments, so they summon the scariest thing that comes to mind, forest clowns.
We're all gonna think about clowns.
The app takes them randonauting to a scary location in the woods that creeps them out even in broad daylight. A bird calls overhead, but listen closely, and you'll hear creepy noises coming from deeper in the woods.
Do you guys hear that?
Circus music, to be precise.
I hear circus music.
Oh my god.
It's not like an ice cream truck would be driving out here, so there's no reason for scary sounds to be playing in the middle of the woods. They leave before they can get a clown sighting on video, but maybe they'll go exploring there again one day. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.